Welcome once again to your update from the city of New Hope. Time to catch up with the mayor, Kathi Hemken, find out what's new in the city, what might be coming up. Welcome, Mayor. How are you today?
I'm just fine. It looks like fall has finally arrived. I think it might have arrived in some of the other cities too, but they don't have the view out the window that I do. So I know that fall is here.
Yes, the golf course looks beautiful. We'll talk about maybe still getting out and playing a little bit at the golf course in those beautiful colors in just a couple minutes. Let's begin our update for residents and those in the area this week with the West Metro Fire Rescue District. They are busy with some things they're promoting and reminding residents about. Give us the laundry list of what they're talking about these days.
Well, to start with, last week was Fire Prevention Week. And I found this fun fact. In 1925, Calvin Coolidge designated that second week in October as National Fire Prevention Week. And that was in correlation with the Chicago fire many years ago. And that is the longest national observance in the country. And I thought that was pretty cool. So as part of that, they're also doing an Adopt a Hydrant project. So if you have a fire hydrant in front of your yard and it snows, it'd be really nice if you'd go out and clean that up. So if there was a fire, they don't have to do that to hook up their hoses. Now, along with that, they're having a little contest. So if you're going to adopt a fire hydrant, call the fire department, and you're going to put that number up on the screen for them. Call the fire department, tell them you want to adopt a fire hydrant, and then when there's a big snow, they'll pull out a winner who'll get a small prize for picking out or cleaning out their fire hydrant. So if you would do that, that would be really good.
Very nice.
And now the last thing on them, or two things. On the 31st, they're having a treat giveaway from 5:30 to 7:30 at all of the fire stations. So some of the firefighters dress up and they play scary music and have smoke coming out and treats for the kids. So it'll be at all three fire stations if you're interested in doing that. The other thing I found out, because it was National Fire Week, is the biggest cause of fires are kitchen fires. And so they reminded me of a song by Tammy Wynette, but it changed a little bit, called Stand By Your Pan. And so if you, what they're saying, if you're cooking, stay by the pan and cook. If you have to leave, turn the burner off. If it's going to be something that's longer cooking, set a timer so that you know that it's there. So let's see if we can cut down on those kitchen fires a little bit.
Great advice there. And again, you see the phone number for the fire department. So if you want to get involved in Adopt a Hydrant or some of those activities, please do that. Let's go to community development. A couple of things to update residents on. The first is property with some outdoor storage that's being looked at. Give us some of those details.
Well, when you have storage outside, first of all, you have to get a permit because it needs to be fenced and it needs to be screened. We don't want somebody to look in their backyard and see a bunch of trucks that isn't screened. So there's a place at 5001 Boone who wanted outdoor storage. We issued the permit and we've asked that they put some arborvitae bushes back there just to kind of screen it from lighted field. That's the only screen they need to do. So anyway, you'll see some bushes going in and some outdoor storage happening there.
Right. Let's jump to a neighboring city. The Crystal Airport is always something that people are talking about in one way or the other, but they're talking now about a little bit of zoning. And I understand some changes have occurred there that New Hope even gets involved in that conversation. Explain that for us.
Well, a few months ago, I talked about a JAZB, right? And that is Joint Airport Zoning Board. Well, apparently they changed some of the runways. They eliminated a runway. And so the flight pattern is different. When that happens, the Airport Commission has to put out an ordinance that changes that they made some changes. So with that, the cities then have to adopt that ordinance. So you'll see what will happen in New Hope and the other cities. We'll get that ordinance from this JASB group. We'll change our ordinances to fit whatever it is they're telling us we need to do. But the reason I'm bringing that up is because people have noticed that more planes seem to be going over their houses, and it's because those runways have been changed. And even though we don't touch that airport, the planes still come over New Hope, so we still have to have that ordinance in place.
Thanks for the update on that. Let's move to scattered site housing. A couple properties to touch on. One is just an update as some work goes on. That is a property at 3611 Louisiana. Things are moving ahead.
Well, the blocks are in. The insulation in the basement's in. They're going to start putting up the the framing, and what he told me was pretty soon.
Okay.
I don't know what that means, but you'll see some action going on there. I think he's really trying to get that house more or less sealed up and sealed, so they can start the work inside in the winter.
Very good. Other property is 4965 Winnetka, and this is a property that saw a lot of activity recently. We have some pictures of it used for a very good purpose ahead of being rebuilt.
You know, there's no other way to train firefighters, or no better way than to have a live fire, and especially if it's contained. You don't want to send your firefighters out who've never had a live fire before. So this is a wonderful opportunity for them, and there were about 40 of them there. So what happens then is after they did all the burn, they have to let all that stuff sit for a couple of weeks just to make sure there aren't any hot spots. It doesn't start a fire at the dump or nothing else happens. So the couple of weeks will be up, I think, the end of this week. And then what they'll do is a demolition team will come and take all that debris out of there, and they'll also take down the rest of the trees. And then after that happens, we'll do some grading to that, and that may or may not get done yet this year. And then sell the lots to a developer.
All right, keep an eye on that property. Lots of activity going on there. Also, lots of activity with the business networking group. They've got a big date coming up with a couple different topics to be talked about.
November 1st. It's going to be this is the first one with the New Hope Crystal Business Networking Group. The first time we're going to be actually in Crystal. So we'll be at Crystal City Hall, and they want to talk about the Blue Line extension. That'll be the topic. But the other part that happens that's really exciting is to watch the number of business cards that get passed back and forth. Everyone goes around the table, they tell a little bit about their business, what they're doing. If you're just interested in the businesses in New Hope and Crystal, show up, it's free. There's generally coffee and cookies or some little munchie. So that is 2:00 on the 1st.
All right.
At Crystal City Hall.
Excellent. Couple building permit information and also curbside appeal to talk about. First, the building permit information is a corner that people know about over there on Bass Lake Road in Winnetka. What is happening to the Shell station?
That Shell station. Well, first of all, I have to tell you that changed hands like 2 or 3 times. And each time it changed hands, a little bit of work would get done, and then it just sat. And it got sold, and a little bit of work would get done, and it sat. So we finally got somebody to buy it who has been given a building permit. And I noticed they did the roof, and they're going to start doing some stuff inside. It's looking a lot nicer than it has been for a long time. So hopefully we'll see something there. I'm guessing it's going to be a gas station because the pumps are still there. I do know that the mechanics garages are gone. So I think it'll be an expanded quick trip kind of store. So we'll see.
Okay, more to come there. Final note in community development, the curbside appeal program. Again, remind us, Mayor, a successful program, and you're still looking for more people to participate.
We are. I understand we've had 20 applicants that we've approved. There's still money in the program. When the money runs out, of course it runs out. So the deal is we want you to do something that has curb appeal. So maybe a new door with windows, or expanding the windows that are there with some other kind of windows. But you need to call and get it pre-approved. So you're going to be calling Jeff, and the number's on the screen. Keep in mind the project has to be a minimum of $4,000, and there's a 25% rebate. And I think it's up to a $5,000 rebate, so that would be $20,000. So anyway, it's a great program, and there's money there. So if you're planning to do it, this is a good time to do it. But please get it pre-approved before you do anything.
Good advice. There you see the number to Jeff, 763-531-5119. You can call and get more information and see if you can get involved. To the police department we go. The staff has been busy attending some different trainings and events. The first is firearm training. I understand this happens on a somewhat regular basis at a neighboring city.
We do. Well, we go out to Maple Grove because they have the firing range out there. And so they were doing some firearm training and use of force training. So we're really careful that we're doing it right. We want to keep our police officers as well trained as we can and as often as we can.
Next is Meals on Wheels, continued partnership here between the police and SEEP, I would guess it is, sending out some meals on a regular basis.
They are. The people that are getting the meals are actually requesting that a police officer deliver them, because I think it makes people feel better. And besides, they're now starting to form relationships with the people they're delivering the meals to. So I just think that's such a nice thing.
Yeah, great program. Another event that went on was the Tri-City Community Engagement Forum. Give us a little recap of why it came together and what were some of the topics covered.
Well, this has been going on for a few years, and the Tri-Cities are New Hope, Crystal, and Robbinsdale, and the 3 police chiefs were there, and they were basically just talking about, crime in their cities, what they're doing about it, how they're handling different things that come up. Basically, what they were doing is listening. They wanted to hear what people had to say. It was quite well attended, very well behaved. There wasn't any shouting or irrational stuff going on. And the poor police chief from Crystal's got her foot in a cast. So she can't run very fast.
All right. Chief Reverie a little slowed down at this point, but she'll be back in full action, I'm sure, soon. Well, great that the Chiefs had that event. One other event to talk about here. We didn't often know to equate car seats and your police department, but they do go together in some ways. Tell us how.
They do. Well, if you've got a little munchkin, whether it's a brand new baby or a little bit bigger, you got to make sure that that car seat is put in properly, because if not, it doesn't do any good. And so we have sent a couple officers to go to car seat instructor training, and they will come back then and instruct some other officers. If you have a new one and you're interested in having your car seat put in properly, you can call the police department and set up an appointment, and they'll come out to your car, show you how to put the seat in, how to take it out, how to adjust it. We just want to keep those little munchkins safe and make sure that seat's in properly. Sometimes you think you have it in properly, and the time to find out is not when you have an accident. It's nice if you could do it beforehand.
Yeah, another great service offered by the police department. And also that goes for ones that are a little older too, because there's some new rules now for people that are even up to a certain poundage. So keep that in mind. Public Works we go, and one update to pass along first here is a little change in hours of their building and their staff. Tell us about that.
Well, the office staff used to work 8 to 4:30. They've changed their hours to 7 to 3:30. Don't know why. Apparently they do this every fall. I think they change it later for the summer hours, but then they change it back. So if you're interested in, or you need to do something with the staff at Public Works, they open at 7 to 3:30.
Let's talk about a little construction happening in the city, and all we have to say is 42nd Avenue, Mayor, and they know what we're talking about, but it's multiple places now. Take us down the roadway and give us a progress report.
You are so kind to say a little construction. Yeah. It seems like everything on 42nd is being uprooted. Let's start with Winnetka. So that intersection, Winnetka and 42nd, if you're going south on Winnetka, it's down to 1 lane. I do want to tell you that all the businesses are open there on the west side, so you can get into those businesses, but don't try to get out of McDonald's onto Winnetka right there. You probably should go around a little bit and find another way to do that. So that's one of the things that's happening. Of course, they're burying the power lines on 42nd, putting in new lighting. They're doing some ADA ramps further on down. They tell me that the bridge will be done, and those entrance and exits off the bridge will be done, and the noise wall. Now, they're all telling me the same thing, the end of October. Now, I don't know if they think October has 80 days in it. They're not saying that. They're all saying the end of October. Oh, I hope. It's really difficult to get around on that 42nd Avenue. Boone is still open on 42nd north and south, but it's not open east and west.
Right.
So you need to go around some other way. I tell people, if you get into New Hope, you can't get out.
That's right. Stay for a while. So, well, we'll see what happens as the end of October draws near. Let's move to Park and Rec and talk about some fun things that are going on or maybe coming up here. One thing that went on is there were a number of residents that had a chance to take a bus trip to Wisconsin. Where were they going?
Well, we have this thing called Community Tripsters, and that's in that In Motion book. Someplace on there, I don't know what page it's on, but you can find the trips that they take. Well, we had a whole busload full of people going on the Wisconsin Great Northern Scenic Lunch Tour. So the whole busload gets on the train, and they took this beautiful train up and down the river and had lunch. Big hit.
You caught me looking at my magazine here. It is on page 21 is where you find community tripsters, and it looks like other things coming up. And this is the fall version. So more will be coming out. So as we head into winter, I know that group does some great activities in winter as well. So get involved if you can. Great opportunity to have some fun.
And that magazine gets sent to your house, and you can also pick a copy up at City Hall in case you threw it out. I wouldn't dare throw mine out.
No, let's keep that
No.
around. Let's talk about the month of October as it relates to kids and candy, something that went on and other things are coming up. First of all, Trick or Trot. That event was last week. How did it go?
Well, we have a path all around Civic Center Park. That's the one by the pool. And they had a bunch of vendors along that path. And some of the vendors were like the city of Crystal was passing out little police badges. So was the city of New Hope. They had the recycling people there. They also had lots and lots of treats. So there were 241 participants with their little bags collecting treats, and 600 total people that were there. So it was really fun for the kids. They dress up. It's a nice, safe environment. They can just go around this little. So anyway, that was last week. If you missed it, I'm sorry, but keep an eye out for that for next year.
All right, more Halloween fun coming up. We're going to talk about that some next week, but here's another Halloween twist to athletics in the city. We have softball players dressed up for Halloween playing softball. How does that work?
I don't know. The men and women's softball leagues are done, but the women decided they would have a tournament last week, a softball tournament, and it was a Halloween theme. And I didn't go, but I kind of wonder if you're dressed up as a giant pickle, how do you run the bases on that? Apparently it was a big hit. They had a lot of fun doing it. That's really what it's all about.
Yeah, great group in the city. Let's move ahead to thinking way ahead for Park and Rec. They are already looking at next summer. Tell us what are some of the things they're looking at. And this is a way businesses can get involved in the city as well and some fun.
Well, we've tried to use our performance center a lot more than in previous years. And so we have music in the park, and we want to make that free. We also have movies in the park. Well, both of those cost money. And so what we're looking for is sponsorships. That you can either be a business or like a Rotary group or Women of Today. They sponsor a lot of that. The Lions do too. So if you're with a group that wants to sponsor, your name will be at the performance and it'll say sponsored by. The sponsorship really isn't that expensive. And the other thing to note is if two churches wanted to get together and sponsor something, they could. And both, again, their names will. But they will need to be doing that pretty quick. So again, look at your InMotion. It's some phone numbers. You want to call the Park and Rec department and tell them you want to be a sponsor, and they'll tell you what's available and how to go about that.
Here's the website as well. If you want to look at that information on the website, newhopemn.gov, you can find out more. Emerald ash borer, time of the year that a lot of work's happening with the trees in the city. Give us an update there of some of the treatment, some of the watching these trees, and also some neat planting going on.
Well, if you have a tree in your boulevard that's 15 feet back and it's an ash, it's probably not going to live. And so if you call the city forester, he'll come out with his can of orange paint and put a big orange dot on your tree. If you don't have an orange dot on your tree, that means he hasn't seen your tree. And either he missed it or it looked fine when he drove by. But if you're interested in getting that tree removed, get on the list. They probably won't remove it this year yet, but it will be on the list. And once that orange dot's on it, you know that it's on the list. So the other part of that is we took down a lot of trees on the boulevards. And this week and next week, they're going to plant 116 new trees. And 93 of those will be on the boulevards and 23 will be in the parks. So they'll be busy planting trees along the boulevards, and they let you pick out the tree you want. You probably don't get to pick out an ash tree. They'll probably have you pick
I would guess
but
not.
You can pick out, there's a list of trees, and even if you have picked out the tree already, you might not be on the list to get it planted this year yet.
Okay.
You get on this list, they can only do so much, and they'll try to get as much done as they can yet this year. But if you've called and you're on the list and you picked out your tree, you will get a tree. You just may not get it this year.
Another item under Park and Rec, let's talk about a group that went out to help clean up a park. Who went out and where did they go?
We have a group in the city called the Citizens Advisory Commission. They're a bunch of volunteers, and basically they look at the things in the city that might be fun to do. They're the ones that plan a lot of this stuff with the city staff. Well, they went out and they cleaned up Liberty Park last week. We asked our commissions to do that, and they're just more than happy to do it. So some of the CAC members were out cleaning up Liberty Park. So thank you very much.
Let's move to that beautiful golf course behind you that's looking so nice now with the colors. What's happening as far as golf course activity? And you also wanted to say a little bit about something people might see on the greens now that we're not to worry about, correct?
Yes. So the tournaments are just about over. There was one tournament last Saturday. I don't know that there's any planned for this week. The fall leagues are just getting done this week. But you should know the golf course looks just like it does in my, there, I can go like that. You can see how it looks.
Perfect.
It looks beautiful out there, and the weather is nice. Wear gloves. It's a little chillier than it was in July. But, you know, lots of tee times will be open after this week. The leagues are done, so there'll be more tee times during the day. And of course, there'll be times on the weekends that you can play. Now, about those little spots on the greens.
Mm-hmm.
So I played this week, and there were a bunch of little, like, quarter-sized spots on the greens that look like acid or something had fallen on. They're perfectly round, but
Mm-hmm.
all over. So I cornered the supervisor and said, "What is that?" Well, he told me that when it's warm and then it rains really hard and then it gets a little warm again, there gets to be a fungus on the greens. This year, he tries to, after it's been warm, he tries to get out and sprays them, but it rained. And so he didn't get a chance to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, well, what's going to happen? Are they going to go away? Well, they're going to close the golf course not this Sunday, but a week from Sunday in the afternoon, and they will aerate then. And, you know, they'll do all the stuff they do. He says, once they've sprayed and they have sprayed, that fungus will go away and the grass will grow back and the greens will look just fabulous like they've always looked. But that's what made the little spots on the greens.
All right. Thanks for educating us. Let's go over to the ice arena and talk about some of the activities that happen all throughout that building. What's going on there these days?
Okay, so open skating Friday and Sundays. You can rent skates for $5. Or it's $5 to get in. You can rent skate for $3. So if you want to try skating, but you don't have skates, you can get them there. You can also have your skates sharpened. But in the meantime, the youth hockey is practicing there. The high schools are doing some of their initial practicing there.
Mm-hmm.
There's just lots and lots of stuff that's going on constantly. The other thing that's happening on the 22nd of October, that's a Sunday from 9:45 to 10:45, is hockey for free. So what they're going to do is you have to register, of course. They will provide the kids with skates and pads and sticks, and they can basically play hockey for free that day for that hour to see if they like it.
Yeah.
And of course, there's instructors there, and most of the instructors are high school kids or some of the staff that are there. So this isn't like a real hockey game, but this is so the kids get a feel for whether or not they want to play hockey.
Yeah.
And so there'll be another one in November. I think it's November 2nd or something like that. So there'll be another one in November if you miss this one, but you do have to register because they need to know how many kids are there and what size skates they need for these little kids. I think you can be as young as like 3 or 4. I mean, they're
Neat.
little.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you can't be 55 if you want to.
They might let us in, right? Who knows?
I will hope they don't.
With big pads around us, right? There's that website that you need to go to find out more. ACYHA, Armstrong Cooper Youth Hockey Association.org is where you can go to find out more about that and head over to the arena. Couple final notes to pass along. We are asking people to take photos, and with the look of the trees behind you, now's the perfect time to take photos for the photo contest.
Oh, just the parks are beautiful. Yeah. The geese, bless their little hearts, are still here, and the ducks, and there's just lots of opportunity to take some really pretty pictures. The sunrises are magnificent. The sunsets have been really pretty. So this is the time. You have until the 31st of October to get those pictures in. You can go online. and to the city's website and to In Focus, and it'll tell you the rules and how you submit a picture. If all that fails and you can't figure that out, take your picture, go into City Hall, tell them you want to submit a picture, and somebody will help you.
Very good. Final couple notes to pass along. The city staff really get involved in helping people out for the holidays and also for the winter season. Tell us about some of the opportunities coming up here, and you're looking for residents to participate.
Well, we're having a food drive right now. It's sponsored by the city staff.
Great.
So any food that's in a can, and not expired, by the way, not a use by date. So anything that's in a can or a box, they'll take. They're always looking for even diapers and things like that. Always looking for cash. So if you don't put the cash in the bucket, give it to the clerk either by a check or cash, and she'll make sure. So all of that will go to Near.
Mm-hmm.
I was at Near a couple of weeks ago for a gathering they had, and the food shelves are really empty. So they're in such need. They said the amount of people that are coming into the food shelf is really expanded. So if you've got some stuff in your cupboard that you think, really, am I going to use that squash bisque soup? If you're not, donate it.
Mm-hmm. Very good
And
idea.
the other thing that's happening is the police department is having a coat drive. So they're looking for new or gently used coats. Doesn't matter the size. They'll take little ones, those little zip up things for babies, little ones, any size coat at all into an adult coat. There's lots and lots of uses for them. So they'll make sure they get to the right people and the right areas, that they won't be sold to anybody. They'll be given away.
Mm-hmm.
So winter's coming and we need coats. So if you've got a coat in your closet that you're not wearing, along with the squash bisque soup you're not using, bring it to City Hall and donate it.
Fantastic idea. And again, all that at the City Hall building. You can stop in and make those donations. Website on the bottom of the screen in case you need that address or maybe some help navigating the construction around that area. But
Yeah.
newhopemn.gov, the place to go. Stick with us. We've got our calendar of events coming up, some things that are happening in the city. Mayor, thanks once again for the update this week, and look forward to see you again next week.
See you, Dave. Have a nice fall. Bye-bye. Learn more about The Connection at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.